Hello, I'm back. So, yes, we've been on the cruise. My name's Helen, this is my channel, Helen Mary Jo, and everyone is welcome here. So, last time I went on a cruise, Katie and her family were moving into our house, and so that I knew the house wasn't empty, so I didn't have any worry telling people that we were away. But it's a different matter when the house is going to be empty. So I was advised, pretty obvious really, don't broadcast the fact that your house is going to be empty, because with modern technology, people can find out where you live, and can you imagine what a nightmare that would be? Plus, I don't think I'd be insured if I had broadcast the fact that I was away. So that's why I kept it on the down low, and that is why I worked very hard to film content that could be screened while I was away, and I did in fact answer all the comments while I was on holiday on the cruise, and a very nice holiday it was too. So a lot of people will not be interested in this, so I will try and kind of compartmentalize it really. So if you are looking to do an Azamara cruise, which is who we cruised with. We did the Eastern Caribbean Azamara cruise from Miami back to Miami, and it was fantastic. We cruised with them before in January when we went to South Africa, and this was a different ship. This was the Journey, that was the Pursuit. But they're very, very similar. I mean, to be honest, we couldn't have told them apart. But the funniest thing was that the crew that was on it, a lot of the crew, not all of the crew obviously, but a lot of the crew, including the captain that were on the Pursuit in January, were also on this ship. So I did speak to the captain and say, we were on the ship in January. I'm not stalking you. It's just a happy coincidence, in case he thought I was a little bit bonkers. Well, he probably did anyway, to be honest, because imagine how many people he's seen in between. So I've got my mug here. You've seen it before, cuppa and a catch up, and it's my YouTube mug. Now, I did have a few of these made, but I wasn't terribly happy with it. So there are just a few. And I'm going to send one out to one lucky person if somebody wants it. And I'll tell you how I'm going to allocate that mug at the end of this video. So if you want a mug, you'll have to keep watching or fast forward to the end and try and catch it. But otherwise, if this is not for you, I understand that. A lot of people wouldn't be interested in the fact that I've been on holiday on a cruise. Aren't I lucky? But I thought, as I had done quite a lot of shopping with the cruise in mind, that I would do a kind of a blended video. So in this video, we'll run through the ports that we went to. I will run through a few funny stories because, as usual, a few things happened. And then I will kind of try. I didn't film every night because first few nights, I was exhausted, to be honest with you. I was really exhausted and I just didn't have the energy to film. And then some nights it just wasn't practical to record anything. So I did take a lot of clothes with me. I took 2 full suitcases, and I will do a packing video slightly differently in a different video. But I just felt like I wanted to come on and kind of say hello, say I'm back, say we've hit the ground running is a mild statement really, because obviously we came back to that bitterly cold weather. Hang on. We couldn't believe it. I drove home in a blizzard from Heathrow back down to the New Forest. And of course today it's Storm Bert, is it? This is Saturday. It's absolutely peeing down, and a huge high wind is buffering everything. And I said to Katie, oh, if we'd only come back a couple of days later, we would have missed that cold weather. And she said, Mum, you wouldn't have wanted to be flying in this weather. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. I'm so dopey sometimes, well, a lot of the time, to be honest. So what else did I want to tell you? Yeah, Azamara. So everything's included on Azamara. So all your food and the basic drinks package is included. When we booked the trip, we got Wi-Fi included, and gratuities are all included as well. And we got the higher level drinks package, which is the premium. I would have been perfectly happy on the complimentary, because I'm not really that fussy. You know, if once a spirit has been mixed with a mixer, I can't tell the difference, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, one day the guy behind the bar, here I go digressing. One day the guy behind the bar, I asked for a Cosmopolitan, and he made it, and he said, Rob, I put the really good stuff in there. Oh, good Lord, it was like rocket fuel. I had one drink and I was a bit more than tipsy. I couldn't have another drink for the whole evening. So I thought he was kind of doing me a favour, but it didn't really work out to be a favour at all. So it's such a small ship. There was only 650 people on there. The crew are the happiest, nicest crew that I've ever come across on a ship. And you get to know them and they get to know you. And it's really, really friendly. We met so many amazing people, so many truly interesting people. From a NASA scientist who was actually lecturing on the ship, and he and his wife we got chatting to one lunchtime, and they were just delightful people. And I said to him, I think you're the cleverest man I've ever met, and that is true. But he was so modest, you would never have known. And he was actually impressed that I was a YouTuber, which I found a bit embarrassing really, but he's such a lovely man. We met a lovely couple from Belfast who she's a dentist, and she gave me some really handy advice about a problem I'm having with the tooth. That was fabulous. Obviously, I didn't dive straight in looking for a consultation, but we got chatting and she talked to me, and I asked her, and she gave me some really good information that I shall take back to my dentist. Who else did we meet? We met a lovely couple that have fostered children all their married lives, and they were, I think that's a remarkable thing to do in itself. We met, oh, this was a funny one. Went to Captain's cocktail party. I have to confess, I wouldn't do it again. It was a bit of a waste of time really, because you had to be ready for dinner for 5 p.m, which is early. Then you're not eating till 8 o'clock or something. But anyway, never mind. Live and learn. And a lady came up to me, her name was Jenny, and she said, are you Helen? Anyway, to cut a long story short, she had sent her friend back home in Australia a photograph of herself, and I was in the background, and her friend in Australia follows me on YouTube and said, that lady's a YouTuber, I follow her, see if she is Helen. So, I mean, honestly, you couldn't make that up, could you? We're in the Caribbean. She's from the Gold Coast in America, and her friend, oh gosh, what's wrong with me? I'm going to blame jet lag, but I can't really. She's from the Gold Coast in Australia, and her friend saw me in a photograph. Now, I find that kind of thing completely incredible. There's the washing machine going. Just please ignore that noise. So we had 2 days in Miami. We got there kind of early morning, and no, was it early morning? Was that, I can't remember. Afternoon we got there. So we had a night in Miami, and then we had a full day, and then the breakfast, and then onto the ship. And we were on Miami Beach, so we did just go and enjoy the beach. We've been to Miami before, wasn't particularly interested in seeing anything much of the city, and so we just laid on the beach and just slobbed out really, because as I say, I was pretty exhausted by the time we went on holiday. It all got so rushed in the end, trying to get everything done and ready and packed, and the house done, and YouTube, and you know, you name it, I was running around like a headless chicken trying to get it sorted. So we just chilled in Miami, and then we had a car take us. What we did notice was how expensive everything is in America now. You know, when we went years ago with the children, eating out in Miami was so cheap, but it's not anymore. By the time they've add on the sales tax and the service charge or whatever tips, gratuities, call them what you will, it was actually London prices. So that was a bit of a shocker, because it used to be quite cheap. So anyway, we got a car. We had a car pick us up and take us to the ship, and we got on in no time. That's another beauty of a small boat. You know, you're on and you're done in no time at all. And we dropped our kind of carry-on bags into the cabin, and then we went up on deck, and we'd taken our swim things with us then. So we went up on deck and had a bit of lunch and just relaxed until our bags were in the cabin, and then we went down and unpacked. So that was the first day. Then we had 2 sea days, and the second sea day it poured with rain all day, and we were quite worried because we had been told that there was a lot of bad weather in the Caribbean. And you know, I know no one's going to feel sorry for me, but equally we'd paid a lot of money to have a hot sunny holiday, and obviously nothing's great in the pouring down rain. So we just kind of mooched about. I was reading my book and stuff on the second day, and Rob can sleep anywhere, so he was quite happy. Then we arrived in St Thomas, and because the weather still wasn't great, we decided to do a bus tour in St Thomas. Now, the excursions on the ship are expensive, very expensive. And I had said to the guy, if you could only do one trip, what would it be? And I'll tell you what that is in a second. And then I booked a second trip through the ship because we had some onboard credit that could only be used on excursions. But I would say to anyone, you know, they kind of hold it over you that if you go on an external trip and it doesn't get back to the ship in time, they'll go without you. Well, there's 2 things there. One is I'd taken out cruise cover, which meant if we missed the ship for any reason, they would cover us to get transported to the next island or the next port of call. And the second was that we were back in loads of time. We only did a 2-hour tour. And this chap, I've got his card, I'll put his details, everything I'll put down below, because he was so lovely. And he was called Uncle Albert. You see that? And he was so knowledgeable, and he was very, very reasonable. It was quite funny because he said, oh, it'd be $39 each. And I thought, well, that's fair enough. He said, it's a government fixed price, can't change it. And then it got cheaper. So we ended up paying him $30 each for a 2-hour tour, and he could answer all our questions and knew everything about the island. So that was St Thomas. As I say, it was a bit of a dreary day. So we kind of just did that and then went back to the ship, really had a little walk around. But, you know, I'll be honest and say they all look very similar. And we did see some interesting things, but, you know, it's not like mind-blowingly interesting. It's just quite interesting. If you're like me, I'm not that interested in that stuff. So, and I covered off all the sort of slave trade and everything when we went to America. So I feel like I've done that in quite some depth before. So then the next day we went to St Maarten, and that was nice. It was interesting. And we went there. We went to where the planes come in really low, you know, over the fence when they come into the runway. But to be honest, if there's more than one cruise ship in, I wouldn't bother because it was so packed with people. We couldn't really get a good view of anything. So I wouldn't do that. But we also went to a jeweler, and a couple on the ship, Robert and Evelyn, recommended this jeweler. Now I've got to stop that or it will keep on beeping. 1 second. So we went to this lovely jeweler called Majesty's in St Maarten, not the one that's right outside the cruise terminal, but the one that's in the town on the high street. And Rob and I really liked something, so we kind of agreed it was my Christmas present. I just find whatever wangle I can really to get something that I really like. So I bought this very pretty little bracelet, and what's really nice about this is it's flexible and it's got a titanium wire running through it and this double clasp here, and so it's very light, it's very delicate, and I thought it was really, really pretty. So I just wear that with my other bangles, which I've tucked up here because of people complaining about the noise. So, but when they're all layered up, it's just kind of a little bit of sparkle in amongst the other bangles. So, you know, sometimes I just wear it with these 3 or with the 2 heavier ones in the evening. So, yeah, I was very pleased with that. So that's Majesty's in St Maarten. And they were very, very helpful. And I felt like they were very, very honest. And they gave me a good price. So I was very happy with that little trinket. Early Christmas present. Because, you know, probably like a lot of you ladies, if I want something kind of smallish, I can get it for myself. So that was that. Then the next day we went to St Kitts and Nevis, I think they say, and we just had a beach day there. And we were on the beach. Now then, I've sort of told people that I would share their information, so I'll do that now. We just got a taxi from the port to, what was it called? Pinneys Beach. And there was 2 lovely chaps on there called Tesson and Danet. And they were so helpful with everything. They gave us the Wi-Fi code for the local beach bar so we could get Wi-Fi. And they were really attentive because there was quite a lot of swell and a couple of people couldn't get out of the sea. And those boys were on it as quick as a flash, helping people out of the sea. So kind and just lovely. They were lovely. And so I said that I would mention them. So that was very nice. Now, the next day was probably the highlight of the holiday for me. And that was, we went on a Catamaran trip. And this was through the ship. So it was quite expensive. It was $149 each. But as I said, we had some credit, so that was fine. And we had to get a tender. Did we have to get a tender for that one? I can't remember. And anyway, we got on this catamaran and it was absolutely, that was Antigua. Did I say that? We went to Antigua and we got on this catamaran and it wasn't full at all, which was lovely. And they took us to 2 very secluded beaches. In fact, the second beach, there was no one else on it. I will put some photographs in along the way with this so that you can see what's what. And there were some lovely guys on there. And one of them called Williams, hello Williams, he was very, very interested in the YouTube thing. And he does a little piece to camera. He wanted to show me the bridge that the local people had paid for to help them get across to the beach. And so I will insert William's little piece, his YouTube debut, into this video here. And yeah, he was lovely too. They were really, really helpful, nice guys. And we had a lobster lunch on the boat. That was $149 each, but we had the best day. So that was worth every penny.
All right, guys, here we are. Welcome to Deep Bay, home to the Royals and Antigua. We have 2 of them here on island. This one right here on the west side is more family oriented. Okay, at the top of the hill here, there's a fort that was built to protect us from invaders like the French and the Spanish. This fort was actually captured by the Spanish, but it didn't last long. A week. Okay, so how can you take over my small island with no food, right? Now we took that back. After taking it back, that's how it stood for now. I don't know if you see the pole at the center of the top. Yeah. That's where we hang the flag and let them know where they are. Right. Antigua, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. This bridge that we're standing on here, it was built back in a couple of years where it allows people to come and visit the beach easier. Are you alright? So before the bridge, guys, this was actually the passageway to get to the beach. Okay? Yeah, it's nice and calming. Yep, there we go.
And it was a beautiful day as well, thank goodness, weather-wise, because they always run these tours. So if it's pouring with rain, that's just hard luck. You're going to be sitting on a boat in the pouring rain, end of. Which is why sometimes it's better to just pick something up at the port, because if you do it ad hoc, if it's pouring with rain, you don't have to do it or pay for it. So, you know, you pay your money, you take your choice. And we got back from that at like 2 o'clock. So the ship wasn't leaving till 6 or something. So that was fine. And And then the next day we were going to Virgin Gorda, and this was the other trip that we paid for from the ship, and that was $79 each. And that was just basically a bus. That was tendered port, and a bus from the tender dock to the baths at Virgin Gorda. When I went to say to the guy about the trips, he said the baths at Virgin Gorda are the mind-blowingly most beautiful things you will see on this trip. So, okay, sign me up. And then I read the thing and it said strenuous and it said rope ladders. And I was like, do you actually mean a rope ladder? And he went, yeah. And I said, what? Like a ladder made of rope? And he said, no. He said steps, but there's a rope that helps you get up and down the steps. And I was like, okay. I said, look, you can see the size I am. You can see the age I am. Do you think I can do it? And he said, yes, you can do it. So off we went. And I was very nervous, really nervous, because I didn't want to make a fool of myself, really. And I didn't want to get stuck in a situation that I couldn't get out of. And it was pouring with rain. So I had my swimwear on underneath the shorts and blouse, and I will put a photograph in and you'll see we look like a pair of drowned rats. Because the rain was coming down and the sea was coming in, so whichever way you turned, you got soaked to the skin. And at one point, I got sort of stuck between two great big boulders where I had to put my leg through a little gap about this big, kind of get one leg through and get the other leg through after me. And as you know, if you've watched me, which, you know, I'm sure if you're not watching this, if you haven't watched me before, I've got short legs. And so where I got one leg through and that started sinking in the sand, I couldn't get the other leg through because I just didn't have the kind of, you know, my legs were like this. And so I ended up face planted against the boulder that I was trying to get past. Well, I mean, I didn't wet myself. No one would have known if I had, but it was a close call, I can tell you, because I said, well, this is the money shot because I like this on a bolt. What a blimmin' palaver. Anyway, it was a real shame because it is absolutely beautiful. Even in the pouring rain, you could see how beautiful it was. But it's a bit of a different story when you're soaking wet right through to your skin and you're wearing denim shorts. Not ideal at all, but it was lovely and it was good fun and we all saw the funny side. Sorry, excuse. So that was Virgin Gorda. You know, it was lovely, and I said, well, it's a good excuse to have to come back now, isn't it, really? And then the next day we went to San Juan in Puerto Rico, and we just walked around the whole town on our own, really. There, very interesting, lots of history. And I'll pop in a couple of snaps here. That was a nice sunny day as well. Then, oh no, I forgot to tell you, when we were coming back from St Maarten, we got a taxi back to the ship. We got a flat tyre. I couldn't believe it. Merrily going along, and then doof, doof, doof. And we all had to get out of the car and stand by the side of the road in the burning heat. And there was two American ladies that got in the car with us, and they were soaking wet and covered in sand. They put towels down on the seat, but nonetheless. So then they had to get out of the car because of the flat tyre. And this lady was just wearing a swimsuit, nothing else. And we were basically on a main road and she's just wearing a swimsuit. So do you remember that throw that I got from the charity shop for £3, the Fiji throw? And throw, what? I don't know what planet I'm on. Sarong, the sarong. What's a sarong? A sarong. I said, Rob, shall I give her this? Like, it was only £3. I was a bit sorry to see it go, but I thought, you know, they're for the greater good. And so I went over to this lady and I said, would you like this sarong? And she went, oh no, I've got one in my bag, thank you. And I said, oh, okay. Why would anyone choose to stand by the side of the road in a swimsuit? With just, cars just drop. I mean, literally you can't odds it, can you? So anyway, so we got to 2 sea days before we were heading to Key West. First day, fine, just sunbathing, enjoying it. And then the second day, Rob didn't feel very well at all. And he sort of said he was nauseous and tired and he just didn't feel well. So I said, well, stay in bed, you know, have some time in bed. Went down and checked on him. He still wasn't feeling well. To cut a long story short, we ended up in the medical room on the hospital with the doctor. And he had a thing with his heart. It wasn't atrial fibrillation, but his blood pressure was incredibly low and his sinus rhythm was all out. So that was very worrying. Fabulous service on the boat, honestly. The doctor on board is a surgeon. He had 2 senior nurses working with him. So Rob was put on a bed, ECGs. They gave him IV beta blocker. Took about 40 minutes. They were very concerned, actually, as was I, when I could see how concerned they were. And then his heart rate came back. So thank goodness. But then the doctor said, right, come back and see me in the morning and I'll decide whether you have to go into hospital on shore. So we were still on a sea day. So I'm thinking, please, 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 I can't do a helicopter. Rob can't, like, you know, being at sea is fabulous until something goes wrong. And then all you can think of is how far away are we? So anyway, thank goodness we went back the next day and he was fine. Everything was back to normal. We obviously do have to get him checked out. And at this point, I would just like to mention my travel insurance, which I have with my bank account with Nationwide Building Society. And I filled in their claim form because it was about £650, I think. And I filled in the claims form and I was paid out the next day. Just like that. I think that is remarkable. I honestly couldn't believe how easy it was. I just had to fill it all in. They did ask for some documentation, but I hadn't got round to sending them that, and we had our money back in the bank, which was just fantastic service. So that kind of was the end of the cruise, really. So I've been prattling on a bit now. So what I think I'll do is I'll kind of do this cruise review in kind of 2 parts. So that was just a quick summary, just to say I am back, to explain why I didn't say I was away, because like I say, I don't think I'd be insured if I had told everybody that the house was empty. And I know, you know, I had a little bit of flack lately about showing things on the channel, and it's a very hard balance. It is a hard balance. But, you know, when we went away, the weather was quite mild here, and we came back and I didn't have a coat, and this was all I had with me. A black cashmere shawl. And this was actually enough at the airport when we got back to Heathrow. I just put this around my shoulders and it kept me warm. Now, I don't know what better, I don't know, review I can give this than to say that. And when we got home here, because Rob had switched the heating off, so it was like an icebox when we came in. I had this on and a cashmere cardigan, and until the heating, Rob put the log fire on, we could get warm. So, right, so I said about this. So, during this video, I have told you the name of the young man that did his YouTube debut. And if you, in the comments, say his name, if you'd like to win this mug, or one of these mugs, and you say his name, and I'll randomly select that and I will send it. These are very rare. Beyond Antiques Roadshow. I think I've got 4 of these. So my son-in-law took one to work. This is one. I think I might have one or two more. So I'm going to do a little giveaway of the mug, just to say how much I do appreciate all of you. And I'll do another cruise review where I just show you what I wore, because I think you'll be losing the will to live if I go on much more about this. And I've got some clothing hauls to do. I've got a skin thing to do. So much. Now I've come back and I'm just hitting the ground running for Christmas. It's coming so fast, isn't it? So I've got to get my Christmas prep videos done. And yeah, but it was a really wonderful holiday, and I actually would definitely go back to the Caribbean, and I would definitely use Azamara again. And I'll just leave you with this little joke. We met this group from Belfast, it was two older men and their pal and his wife, and they'd all gone on holiday together for the first time. And this old guy was so funny. He told so many jokes. I can't repeat all of them on here because they're not all PC, but this one did make me laugh because he caught me good and proper. He said, oh gosh, he said, I won't do the accent because I'm not good, but he said, I woke up 2:30 this morning, there was a young woman banging on my door. I said, really? He said, yes. He said she was hammering on the door, and I said, oh my God, what did you do? He said, I had to get up and let her out. That really made me smile. Anyway, hope it made you smile, and I'll see you really soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.